Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video I want to show you some locations you can grab some strong early to mid-game weapons in Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age. There's actually a ton of early game weapons and armor that you can get, and there's no way I'm going to be able to cover that all in one video. So in this video we're going to focus solely on swords and daggers. Before going any further, a quick lesson on how treasure chests work in Final Fantasy XII. This can help you regardless of which video you're watching of mine regarding loot. So when you load into a zone, every treasure chest has a set chance to spawn. It could be 1%, 100%, they just have a set chance in set locations. Once spawned, there is a chance that the chest will contain gil, a common item, or a rare item. Also, if you have the diamond armlet equipped, the common and rare items change. So I'll be sure to be clear on what you need in this video, though almost all of them are rare spawns without the armlet equipped. Honestly, if you just keep zoning and opening chests throughout the game, you'll probably find a lot of really OP items really early on. Just as soon as you've seen two different items other than gil, you know that that chest has shown you all that it has. Now on top of all those other rules we just mentioned, some chests spawn 100% of the time and then never spawn again. Some despawn if other chests are opened, but there is one important detail that I forgot to mention. So treasure chests in the original game required you to zone 3 zones over in order to get them to respawn. You'd have to leave 3 entire zones. In Zodiac Age, you only need to go 1 zone over. Now what's especially beneficial about this is because enemies don't fully respawn until you zone at least 2 areas over, you could basically clear out an area even if the chests are somewhat annoying to reach with the enemies in the way. Clear them out once and then just go to the zone line, go back, and then go back in, look for the chest, see if you get it, and that should make your life a million times easier, especially compared to the original game. Oh, and before anyone asks, no, the Zodiac Spear chests that cause you to miss it aren't in the game anymore. The Zodiac Spear is gotten through a somewhat different method, but there's no chest in the Necro Hall at Nabudis where you can obtain it 100% of the time early game. We'll talk about that in my Zodiac Spear video. So there's a ton of swords that are really easy to get early on and that you can get as you're progressing throughout the game in order to make sure you stay ahead of the purchases you can usually get at the different item shops. Right from the get-go, you can steal a broadsword from cactoids or cactites. It's at a really low percentage, so you may or may not want to take the time to do this, but it can be nice for the first maybe 30 to 45 minutes of gameplay. The Iron Sword, which is the next one up, can be stolen from mimics and seekers in Barheim's Passage, or just as a drop from the rare game Razorfin. Honestly, you'll probably skip the Iron Sword altogether unless you're purchasing it from a vendor, just because it's not really worth the effort. The next ones, though, start to get worth it more. The Zwill Blade can be found on the Dreadnought Leviathan in the sub-control room. Unfortunately, I don't have footage of it because I did this video after I had gone through the story and I didn't farm this item, but if you just keep exiting and entering like we said before, it's in one of the 2 chests that has a high potion as its common item. Things start to get even more exciting after that. The Ancient Sword can be found in the Platform 1 refinery in the Lohengrin Sandsea, or stolen later from the Uraton Eater in a side quest. This is a pretty good sword at this point in the game. The Lohengrin can be found in a chest in the Simoon Bluff in the Namiensa Sandsea, the area you'll go to right after the Ogryensa Sandsea, just before Wraithwall's tomb. There's actually a lot of great items in the Simoon Bluff, so if you can take the time to get them, it's definitely worth it. Now the next one is actually a sword you can't get early game anymore, or at least not through this method. The Demon's Bane cannot be gotten in the Tomb of Wraithwall in Zodiac Age. I'm adding this as a heads up because people who played the original game may remember actually farming this item here. You used to be able to find it in a secret room that was unlocked after killing the first demon wall. It's just going to give you a different item at this point, so don't sit there trying to get it to respawn. The Blood Sword, however, can be found in Wraithwall's tomb, in the same room where you fight Belias, or as a drop from the Seekers in this zone. Only a 1% drop rate, but at least you get the 100% drop from the chest. The last sword that you're probably looking at for early to mid-game, and probably the most broken one you're going to be able to get around level 35-ish, is the Deathbringer. It can be stolen from the rare game Ithuno in the Barheim Passage. You'll need to complete the Sick Wanderer quest in the south banks of the Estersand in order to gain access, but once done, go to the Special Ops Sector 5 and keep zoning in and out until you see a mimic in this spot. Then just steal away until you get it. And this weapon will carry you a long, long way. And like I said, it can be gotten fairly early on. There are some better one-handed swords that are above the Deathbringer, but we'll talk about those super endgame ones way later. The Deathbringer is definitely your last approachable mid-game one-handed sword. Now daggers on the other hand are a lot simpler. There are 3 pretty damn good daggers that you can get through super easy methods. So if you have a Shikari, they are going to be really strong if you take any effort to get any of these items. The first one is in the Dalmascan Wester Sand. There is a rare spawn called the Lindber Wolf. First, you're going to want to kill 20 wolves somewhere in the zones. You want to avoid alpha wolves, but you want to be killing regular wolves. You can find them in the Shimmering Horizons or really just outside the Rabanastre Gate. After you've killed 20 of them, then you're going to want to zone into the northeast sections of the Shimmering Horizons in order to find the Lindber Wolf. This will just be basically, I believe, going left right from when you leave Rabanastre. Now from this enemy you can steal the Gladius, a very strong dagger with 56 attack. It also has wind element tied to it, so keep that in mind when dealing with enemies with different resistances. Now as for the level of this wolf, it's level 17, so you won't be able to get it right away. You'll probably want to wait a little bit later, at least until you have a character who's a dedicated healer. But this dagger will carry your Shikari through a large portion of the game as long as they don't heal or resist that wind damage, and you can farm multiple of them if you want to have more than one on more Shikaris. Another really strong dagger early on is in the Lusu Mines Site 2. There's a chest with the Assassin's Dagger just before the Rocktoist boss that you'll be fighting there. The Assassin's Daggers have less attack than the Gladius, but have a 5% chance to instant kill, so if you don't have or can't use the Gladius against certain bosses, this is an excellent item. I do want to say something special about the Lusu Mines Site 2. I actually ran into a glitch in my save file where the Assassin's Daggers are no longer obtainable through this method. There are other ways later in the game to get it, but basically, when you run into the Bagamnon boss fight, it asks you to run away from him. Do not finish said boss fight in the Lusu Mines Site 2. There is a chance that your save file will bug out, despawn all the traps and chests in that zone, and never respawn them for the rest of the game. It's been over 100 hours since I started this new save file and caused this glitch to happen, and I still can't get anything to spawn in there. There's only one other dagger you may want to work on, and this one's not going to be till a fair portion later in the game, like level 35 to 40-ish. This comes as a 1% drop rate from the vampires in the later parts of the Lusu Mines. You'll need the Antlion Hunt active in order to reach them, and these mobs again are around level 40. Its 87 attack makes it really strong, and there's only 2 daggers that are considered better than it throughout the rest of the game. It's not the only place to get a crossblade, but at least you'll get some EXP along the way, and you can sell any items you get from the vampires and other items. So like I said, there's a ton of broken items in Final Fantasy XII, and we're just scraping the surface with this first video. I want to break it up and not do it all in one. In the next video, we'll cover axes, maces, and potentially a third item. We'll see how it actually turns out. Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age videos. I'm sure that even long after I'm done playing the game, I'll be producing all these kind of guides on it because, well, a lot of people want updated guides on Zodiac Age and IZJS stuff. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, take care.